I'm Jeremy Wright, the Associate Pastor of the Westside Missionary Baptist Church. We have a video here entitled, What's Wrong with Joe Biden? Now, I'm not going to talk at all about whether he's senile or not, because I don't really care. Because his ideas are so bad that they speak for themselves. Now, Joe Biden has been endorsed by Planned Parenthood, the evil murderers founded by the racist Margaret Sanger. Their whole goal in life is to make as much money as they can murdering little babies. That's what they do. They murder babies. Now, if you don't understand what I mean, they're an abortion clinic. That's what they do. They like to abort babies. And Joe Biden has been endorsed by these gang of racist baby murderers, and I just can't vote for a guy who would get their endorsement. As you know, if you've seen any of my videos, I think that abortion is evil. My last video was entitled, It's Evil to Vote for Democrats. And I'm going to explain why you should not vote for Joe Biden, because there's an election coming up and you need to be informed on what he will actually do. Now, I can't give you all of it because I don't have enough time. There's may not be enough time to tell you all the things wrong with Joe Biden, but I have 3 points to make here about, and any one of these would make me not only not vote for him, but be very angry at somebody who did vote for him. Now, I understand some people may be confused, and I'm going to be nice to you whether you vote for Joe Biden or vote for Donald Trump, because I'm a Christian and we're supposed to be nice to each other. But it's an unchristian thing to do to vote for Joe Biden, because he has evil ideas that he wants to make mainstream in our country. Now, in Psalm chapter 33 and verse 12, the Bible said, Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance. Now, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. If your nation's not godly, then the Lord is not going to bless your nation. Now, this nation here has been blessed tremendously, probably because of our First Amendment. And our First Amendment gives us religious freedom. And then the church could be proclaimed here, and we could teach the gospel here, and we could be Christians here without anybody coming in and storming our doors in and telling us we can't. Now, there are people who fight against such a thing, but they're wrong. And the Constitution, which I have a little Constitution here so that I can show you that Joe Biden even hates it. He's even going to be against the Constitution of the United States, which is the law of the land. So, first reason you should not vote for Joe Biden is he supports the evil of abortion. Like I said, he was endorsed by Planned Parenthood. Just awful. I had to go onto Planned Parenthood's website on my computer. I'm going to put a link to where we went, so you can look at why they endorsed him. I'm going to tell you some of those things right now. I can't tell you all of it because it's just too much. There's too much to talk about. Abortion is where a mother and father, or just a mother, decide to murder their baby for their own benefit. And that's what it is. That's all. That's the long and the short of it. They murder their baby so that they can have a better life. Not so the baby can have a better life because they murdered the baby. So that they can have a better life because they don't care about their children. There's something wrong there. They've lost natural affection, it appears. The U.S. has an amendment called the Hyde Amendment. Now, I'm going to give you an exact quote from Planned Parenthood on what they believe the Hyde Amendment is. Now, remember, Planned Parenthood, it's that organization of racists that murder babies for profit. It's just awful, an awful thing. And this is how they describe themselves as women healthcare. It's crazy. Because there's no healthcare in it. It's the opposite of healthcare. Healthcare is to save and help people get better and heal from sicknesses, to keep people alive. That's not what Planned Parenthood does. They kill people. They kill babies, and that's what they do. They hate the Hyde Amendment. Now, Joe Biden used to support the Hyde Amendment, so he's one of two things here. Either he's changed his mind because he's become more evil, he's become radicalized to the left, and become more and more left and more whatever you would call it, where you want to murder babies. I don't know what's wrong in somebody's mind. Or he's a coward and he's being bullied by the far left into saying what they want him to say. Either way, you should not vote for him because you don't want a coward as president. Now, you may have watched that debate recently between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump was kind of a bully during that debate. We all saw he interrupted a lot and all those things. But when Joe Biden goes and talks to Vladimir Putin, is Vladimir Putin going to be nice, or is he going to be worse than Donald Trump? He'll probably be worse. He's a gangster. He's in Russia. So yeah, Joe Biden's not tough enough to stand up against those things. He's not even tough enough to stand up against his own party. He said he was the Democrat Party, by the way, in that debate. Heard him say it. So he used to support the Hyde Amendment, and we're going to tell you what the Hyde Amendment is according to Planned Parenthood, the racist baby murderers. Maybe we should just call them that from now on, so you know who we're talking about. This is what they call the Hyde Amendment: a pernicious federal law. Pernicious, which means terrible, mean, that effectively, this is the effect of it, apparently, makes access to abortion contingent on one's income or source of health insurance. That's what they said the Hyde Amendment was. Now, actually, the Hyde Amendment prohibits the use of federal funds for abortions. That's it. You're not allowed to use federal funds on abortions. That means if you have health insurance through the government, they can't pay for an abortion for you. Now, what are federal funds? This is pretty interesting to think about. It's tax dollars. So federal funds are my money. So me, who thinks that abortion is a terrible thing and thinks that Planned Parenthood is a pack of evil, racist baby murderers, they want to take my money, give it to Planned Parenthood. Well, I say no, don't do that. So I can't vote for Joe Biden. It's evil to vote for a guy that thinks that. So not only is Joe Biden fine with the murder of unborn babies, but he wants me to pay for it. It's like, if you're going to murder a baby, it'd be like if you were going to hire a hitman to kill your wife or something. And you made me pay for the hitman. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous in both places. You hiring a hitman is bad, which an abortion doctor, hitman, same thing. There's no difference. So, I don't know. Just it upsets me. So he thinks it's fine for me to pay for abortions, with my opinion on abortions. It's just crazy. I don't know how you feel about abortion, but I do know how the Bible feels about abortion, because the Bible has something to say on it. Now, last week I talked about this, and I'm going to use a couple of the same verses. I got a whole video on abortion called Abortion, or Murdering Babies and Calling It Women's Health. So watch that video. We'll post it somewhere so you can find it easier. And then you'll see what abortion is. But we do have to make a little bit of a statement here about abortion. And we're going to go to Matthew chapter 19. I usually mark these, but I ran out of bookmarks because I have to have a lot of sermons ready. Matthew chapter 19, I did have a bookmark. So, and verse 17 and 18. And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? I was supposed to start in verse 16. 16, 17, and 18 are where we read Matthew chapter 19. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good, but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. He saith unto him, Which? Jesus said, Thou shalt do no murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Now the first one there was, thou shalt do no murder. So you're not supposed to murder. So we know that the Bible says you shouldn't murder. And what is murder? It's when you kill a innocent human being. Now when they put a man to death for a crime, that is not a murder. When you go to war and you fight in a war and you kill somebody in war, that is not a murder. If you kill somebody in self-defense, that is not a murder. None of those things are murder. Murder is when you premeditatively, on purpose, kill somebody for no reason, just because he's there and you wanted to kill him. It could be because you think he stole money from you or something, but who cares? None of those things are important. You're not allowed to kill somebody. And just the civil government has the authority to do that, but you do not. And unless it's in self-defense. Then we'll go to Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4. The Bible says, Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. This was before he was born. He was still in the womb. And the Lord sanctified him. The Lord ordained him. He was Jeremiah when he was in the womb. See, that's important to understand. If God considered Jeremiah a human while he was in the womb, then I can do nothing else but consider Jeremiah a human while he's in the womb. But then I also consider every baby in a womb a human, because why would Jeremiah be a human in the womb and nobody else? It doesn't make any sense. And if it's not a human, somebody's going to have to tell me what it is. Because it was made by two humans. It can't be anything else. You ever have two dogs make something other than a dog? No. And you never had two humans make anything other than a human. So yes, it is evil to vote for a man who supports the murder of babies as law. That is an evil thing to do. And I'm telling you this so you don't vote for Joe Biden. Because not even just so that the country doesn't get worse or something. Because the country probably would get worse under Joe Biden than it will under Donald Trump. But that's not the argument I'm making. I'm making a moral argument here. I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying this is a truth. It is bad for you to vote for a man who thinks murdering babies is okay. It's bad for you. It hurts you. So don't do it. Now, the next one. He wants to take your guns away. Now, I know this is not as much of a moral statement, but it is an attack on freedom. We're going to read the Second Amendment to the Constitution as soon as I find it. Take a second here because this book's a little hard to turn. This is just a little Constitution. I think I bought it at a bookstore. You can order them online. You can buy them at bookstores. It'd be nice to have one. That way you can read the Constitution and know what it says. Because most people don't know what it says. Second Amendment to the Constitution. Now, when you amend the Constitution, this is added in and makes it law. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You know what arms are? Weapons. All of them. Weapons of war, there are no weapons of peace. So weapons of war, hunting guns, sport guns, that's everything. Tanks, rocket ships, whatever you want to think of as a weapon of war. That's what they meant when they said this. They said you could have cannons on your ships to protect yourself from pirates. The cannon was the height of military technology at the time. You wanted a Girandoni air rifle, you could have it. It was shot at rates similar to some much more modern guns. The pepper box rifle shot several rounds in just a few minutes or a few seconds. So, yeah, they were fine with you owning any weapons that were made then and any weapons in perpetuity. Now, I'm going to tell you something that people may not know. There's another amendment in here, the 10th Amendment. Let's read that real quick so you understand something that most people don't understand. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. They call this the separation of the powers clause. So the states, this means that the states have the powers that aren't put in here. If it's not written in the Constitution, the states have the power. Well, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Notice, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law. That's different, isn't it? Shall not be infringed. Your state's not allowed to make laws about guns, according to the Constitution. Now, I know they don't follow the Constitution like they should, but according to the Constitution, your state, whatever state you live in, is not allowed to make a law about guns. It's right there in the text. It's not hard to read. So, Biden wants to leave you defenseless. He wants to take your gun away. Criminals are going to get guns, right? They're just going to get them. And he also, which we're going to talk about later on, wants to defund the police. So the police, who are the people who are going to come save you from criminals, he wants to defund them. But he also doesn't want you to have a gun. Now, I'm going to link this to Joe Biden's website, his plan for guns. I can't go through all of them. There's too many. Several pages long. It would take an hour just to go over all just the headlines of what they are. So I'm just going to hit a few as we go. We will, he wants to reinstate this assault weapons ban. Anybody know what an assault weapon is? No, I'm not talking about, they do sell these little guns. They call them assault rifles. They shoot salt. You can buy them and you can go shoot flies with them in your house. Probably a lot of fun. I imagine that'd be a lot of fun. But no, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about semi-automatic weapons that have high-capacity magazines. So, high-capacity magazines, semi-automatic weapons. That's most pistols. A revolver works like a semi-automatic too. Now, they might just say they want to get rid of these scary black rifles, these weapons of war, like an AR-15, which is not a weapon of war. They use an M16 in war, and there's a huge difference. It has selectable fire. An M16, you can turn it to semi-automatic. You can turn it, some of them have 3-round bursts, and some of them have fully automatic, which we are not allowed to own. Again, according to the Constitution, we are, but somebody somewhere doesn't understand English, I guess. And so Joe Biden, he wants to take away those guns. An AR-15 is one of the best self-defense guns that exists. It is a .223 or a .556, which does not have a lot of kick. So I can use it, but also a woman who's not very big can use it, and the kick isn't that terrible. The women in my house don't like to shoot my .45 because it kicks, and it does kick because it's a .45. They don't even like to shoot some of the other guns because they kick. You go take a shotgun out and you get a bruise right here. It happens. It's just the way it is. But you take an AR-15 out, shoot it all day, you won't get a bruise here. The bullet is also traveling at a very high rate, making it very accurate. These are very quick rounds. And it's a very accurate, very good bullet, especially if you use the good ammunition, which you can buy. He wants to get rid of those because then you would have an unfair advantage against the criminals. I don't know. If you never committed any crime, why would you want it? Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't it be better if we had an unfair advantage against the criminals? That's what I want. I would much rather read a story about a criminal trying to break into a house and somebody shoots him with an AR-15 13 times than I would like to read the opposite story where the criminal breaks into the house and they try to get him with a bat and then they get beat half to death because, some woman trying to beat a guy up. Well, it's not going to be very easy, is it? So we all know these things. These are all basic ideas. So the actual name of it was the Public Safety and Recreation Firearm Use Protection Act. And it made certain firearms illegal based on insane criteria, like if you had a collapsible stock. I have a rifle with a stock. It can be this long, it can be this long. I think this is it. This is all the movement you get out of it. It's not much. And this makes it more concealable. It's this long, the whole gun's this long, or it's this long. How am I going to hide that in my pants? I mean, I can't. Am I going to get a holster? I'm going to have to wear a trench coat everywhere I go. I live in Florida. They know something was up. So it's stupid. It's stupid on its face. And then this happened in '94 and it expired, and George W. Bush did not do anything to keep it going because it was stupid. It was a stupid law. And then high-capacity magazines were treated as firearms. Well, that's also stupid. High-capacity magazines are a good idea. What if you get in a gunfight? I've never been in a gunfight, but I've read a lot of stories about gunfights. You get in a gunfight, and they're shooting at you, you're shooting at them. You get scared. When you get scared, you lose your accuracy because you're scared. Just go run around the block 5 times and then shoot your gun. See how accurate you are. You're not going to be as accurate as if you just walked up there and started shooting. It's very important to remember. Your heart's going to be racing. You're going to be in a life or death situation. More bullets might be a good idea. Also, somebody on some of these drugs like PCP or some other things like that, you hit them with 15 bullets and they still might not go down. So, yeah, who cares how many rounds you have? What does that matter? How is that an important thing to think about? Why don't we put the criminals in jail and leave them there or something? I don't know. Just silly. So Biden wants to take these guns away, and he also wants to take the police away. So he wants to take the police and the guns away. What are you going to do? I don't know. It's just crazy. So, there's some other things he has in mind. He doesn't want you to purchase firearms or ammunition online. You can purchase ammunition online. Ammunition is useless without a gun. You can buy 1,045 rounds. If you don't own a 45, you can't shoot them. They're just there. They're just little pretties that you can look at. Look at how pretty my little bullet is. You gotta have a gun to shoot it. So the guns you can buy online, but not really. You buy them online, and then they ship them to a licensed firearm sales place. So a gun shop, pawn shop, somewhere where they sell guns. And then you go there and you pick it up. They usually charge you money. I find it easier just to buy them wherever you're at. Unless for some reason you want some kind of gun that nobody sells anywhere around you. So Just a stupid move. They also got rid of the bump stock. Who cares? What did that do? There's no effect to removing bump stocks. All it is you pull the trigger and then the kick and the gun comes back, pulls the trigger again. That's all it does. So they're probably not that accurate. So the Democrats, and Joe Biden especially, they don't like the idea of you having guns because it affects their ability to have power over you. They want to have power over you. They don't like you having power, they want power. This is also why they don't like religion. We're not even going to talk about their hate of religion now. We're probably going to make another video about Joe Biden just so we can talk about some of these other things. Now, when they wrote the Constitution, they put the word arms in there on purpose. They meant weapons, even weapons of war. And the reason they did this is that so we, the people, could fight off tyrants because they just fought off a tyrant. That's why they did it. They wanted you to be able to do what they did. They wanted no tyranny, which is a difficult thing to have. The world has always been steeped in tyranny. And the last one that we're going to go with for today, we may have to make another video. We'll probably have to make a What's Wrong with Joe Biden Part 2. He has stood with criminals against law enforcement. Biden, who has called for defunding of police. Now, we need to go over what that means. Now, they don't. Some of them want full abolition. They want to abolish the police totally. Some of them just want to defund the police by moving some of the funds that go to the police to social workers and other things like that, like a wellness counselor and various things of that nature. And so, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Go into your head, imagine this. You're a woman, and your ex-boyfriend, who you called the police on because he digitally raped you, sexual assault. He sexually assaulted you. Now, your fingers are digits, in case you don't know what we're talking about here. I don't want to go into any more detail than that. Now, this has been alleged by a woman. She called 911. All right, you're this woman, right? Think about it as if you're her. You called 911. By the way, your child was in the room when this happened. So this is a pretty terrible event. The humiliation, the pain, all the terrible things about it. And this is from the people who say they want to protect women. They really seem like it, don't they? So, what do? Now he comes back to your house, right? You get a restraining order out against him. There's a warrant for his arrest over this event. He comes to your house. He's stolen your keys. Your children are in the car that he's about to take off with. Now, what do? You call 911. Obviously, that's what you do. You call 911. By the way, he's defied a restraining order. So keep that in mind as we go on here. So you call 911. You tell them what is happening. Well, then they send a social worker to your house instead of a police officer with a gun. All I can say is you better hope that Joe Biden hasn't taken your guns away yet, because you're going to need something when that social worker shows up unarmed and there's a violent criminal wielding a knife running around. You're going to need something other than a social worker. It's insane on its face. So, by the way, this happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Joe Biden has talked about how great this Jacob Blake was. This poor guy. He's been so strong, though, through this. He went and talked to the family, talked to Jacob Blake on the phone. Did he talk to the cop? Who appears to be a hero. So, Joe Biden signed with the accused rapist, the accused sexual assaulter, whatever you want to call it, against what would probably be considered a hero cop. Pretty bad, huh? The Bible teaches that law is good. Now, sometimes governments make laws that are not good, but for the most part, the laws in America are pretty good. Get your Constitution out, read it. You'll say, pretty smart. Good way to fight tyranny. And we're going to turn to a Bible verse here for you, just so you can understand. 1 Peter chapter 2, and we're going to start in verse 13, but we're going to read 13 and 14, and we're going to see that the Bible has respect for those who keep the law. The Bible says here in verse 13, submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. So, who are the guys sent by governors for the punishment of evildoers in the United States of America? The police. That's who sends them. The police. That's who they are. The governor sends them, and the police are the ones who carry out the law. Why do we have police? Because we need them. They keep us safe. When something like this happens, something like an ex-boyfriend comes to your house and steals your keys and going to steal your car, has your kids in the car, you need the police to come and deal with him, or you need a gun yourself. Maybe both. Maybe both. Because that's a dangerous situation. And you need to be able to deal with it. The radical left, well, they want to get rid of police altogether because the police are so terrible. You ever heard the saying, snitches get stitches? I've said it in the last 2 videos. Because if you develop a culture where you don't call the police when crime happens, you have more crime. Crime goes up. The police bring crime down. We need to make sure that the police themselves do not commit crimes because it would be bad if they did. But crime is a bad thing, and we don't want it in our neighborhoods. We don't want people committing crimes around us, so we need to have the police. So yes, do not vote for Joe Biden. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote against your safety. It's a vote against your own ownership of a gun, against police, and it's a vote for the murder of babies. Isn't that enough reason not to vote for him? And yes, the other option is Donald Trump, and that's who you're going to have to vote for because he's against abortion. He's against them taking your guns away, and he's for the police. And we're going to make a video about him soon too. So the next video we're going to do more about Joe Biden, but then after that it'll be about Kamala Harris, and then we're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're running out of time for this video. So I'm Jeremy Wright, the Associate Pastor of the Westside Missionary Baptist Church. If you like our videos, please give us a like, a comment, subscribe to our videos so you can see more of them. Click the little notification bell, do all those things so that you can see our videos. And if you comment, I will try to respond to it as soon as possible. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.